welcome to my channel where we talk about cool cars, cool technology, and alternative fuels. We're back again after a little over 2 years with the 87 Chevy S10 Blazer electric version. There's been a lot of modifications so far from the last video. I've done battery upgrades, I've done controller upgrades, I've done dashboard upgrades, I've just done completely new wiring harness for the motor. Pretty much everything except the motor itself has been replaced or at least serviced or looked at. One of the huge things is a different battery setup. I've got Trojan T105s in here now instead of the old 12-volt DC batteries. It's still a 144-volt system, so instead of having 12 volts, I got to have 24 6 volts to make 144 volts to power this thing. I got 7 of these T105s up here. And another reason I had to switch batteries was I had some problems with Johnson Controls, which are the people who make the other battery that I had before. And they had some kind of quality control issue at their plant after, I think, like 2016. And most of the batteries were after 2016, and so they failed within about 8 months. Same thing that happened on version 2 of the solar panel system, well, in between version 1 and 2. If you watch that video, same battery, same problem. But that's really the only modification up here. The big modification, the one that took forever, was one you can't see. It's a new wiring harness for the motor. So inside, in this area, up in the trim area, on the other side, on the passenger side, I have all the low voltage wires. So that's all the sensing wires for the new dashboard that I've put in. It's all the control wires for the throttle, everything. Is all up in that trim section. And then underneath the carpet on the passenger side is the high voltage for the motor coming back from the control unit. I also put in a different seat so I can carry 3 people instead of 2. I think I had bucket seats in here last time. And then I completely redid the dashboard. So now I've got voltage and amperage for the motor and voltage and amperage for the auxiliary system as well. So I've got that put in. And I have an accurate speedometer now, which is, well, it's mostly accurate. At least it moves, right? So coming back here to the back of the vehicle, we can kind of see the fruits of the new modifications that I did in the trim panels. So I've got a much neater setup back here. I've got, try to put the wires very neatly. This wire, all these wires here, this extension cable, that's just the charge cable I have piled up right there. But you see I've got a lot more batteries back here because I had to fit in 24 versus I think I had 18 in here last time. So I had to fit 24 in here, so I've got a ton of batteries here and then a ton of batteries behind the back seat. But we still have the same Curtis 1231C motor controller. I think I had the heatsink on it last time. If I didn't, this is a electric motor controller heatsink for electric vehicles. And then a really new modification, just a couple weeks old, are some high-powered cooling fans up underneath this heatsink. I was overheating this on the freeway in the 110-degree weather that Houston has, and so I put in 4 high-powered cooling fans underneath there, and they are cooling fans off of a Dell rack server. That's what it was, a Dell rack server is where I got those. And then the charging system, I actually had some modifications to that as well. I had some charger problems, and instead of shelling out the money for a new charger, I just simply got a Variac, set it to about 160 volts, so a little bit over battery voltage, and then stuck a bridge rectifier after the Variac, hooked it straight up to the batteries, and it works great. It is unfortunately not isolated from the grid, but as long as you don't touch the batteries when it's charging, everything is fine. It's much cheaper than a battery charger. However, I will, for the sake of quickly charging it, because the Variac is only 20 amps, so it takes a while to charge these 24 batteries. For the sake of charging it quickly, I do want to look into getting a battery charger. I just got to find a cheaper one and wait till the prices come back down. For some reason, the prices have just skyrocketed on electric vehicle battery chargers. Probably because the price of oil went down. Most parts for this thing have, unfortunately, skyrocketed, so it's a lot of figure out and make it work. But yes, the charging system has been completely modified, and that Variac and bridge rectifier take the place of the battery charger. I think that covers all the modifications inside the vehicle, like the cockpit area and back here, and also under the hood. As far as the motor and the transmission, drivetrain, nothing else has changed. Just a quick update here on the new batteries and little add-ins and tightening up of the wiring and stuff like that. Hope you enjoyed.